Welcome to IGCSE ICT, Chapter 20, Data Analysis, Task 20H. Open the file staff.csv. This file lists some workers on another project and lists each worker's job. Place formula in cells B24 to B28 to count how many of each type of workers are employed on the project. Place a formula in cell B31 to count the number of employees with less than 5 years experience. Place a formula in cell B32 to count the number of employees with 10 years or more years experience. Okay. Alright, so we are going to approach this using specifically the COUNTIF function. And in case you don't know how to make use of the COUNTIF function, or maybe you need more background on the COUNTIF function, you can actually look up my tutorial on IGCSE ICT tutorials on data analysis. So when you look it up on data analysis tutorial, you should see every steps necessary in executing this kind of task in various conceivable ways. So I encourage you to go ahead and watch the tutorials. So for now, we are going to open the file staff.csv. Staff.csv is here in my folder. So in case you still having difficulties with source files, you remember to just send me a message on the chat box so that I can get you some advice on how to get that. Alright. Okay. Now the instruction here says place formula in cells B24 to B28 to count how many of each type of workers are employed. Now first we do a kind of inspection on what we have here. You can see this is a spreadsheet containing names, jobs, and years of experience of employees. So now this particular employee has a job, programmer. He is a programmer. This one is also a programmer and has this number of years of experience. We have other programmers here, so a whole lot of them. So here at the beginning from A24 downward to A28 is a kind of a list of all the professions that have been indicated here, all over here. Okay, so we can have director, analyst, just a categorization of all the jobs here. We have engineer, programmer, and sales. So the instruction asks us to actually count the number of each of the number of employees that are directors, the number of employees that are analysts, the number of employees that are engineers, programmer, and sales. Okay, so we are going to make use of the if function. The if function accepts basically two arguments. The first argument is the range, that is the range of data that you want to implement a criterion on. So the second one is the criteria. So let's start with it. Count if. Okay, now as you can see, you have the range, then criteria. So we select the range is from here all the way down to this point, then comma, the criteria will be on this other side. Alright, okay, very good. But in the range, you have to make sure that you reference the range using absolute referencing technique. So I'm going to place the dollar sign here. If you don't still remember the absolute and relative referencing, you also check it out in my tutorial on IGCSE ICT data science. Okay, so we just make sure we reference like this and press our enter key. So as you can see, we have only one director, one person as a director here. So as you can see, this is the only director that we have, and he has just 3 years of experience. Okay, so basically we have this one. Instead of typing the same formula, we make use of formula or function replication technique. So we replicate across all the way to this point. So we have the rest of them, having the same, their individual formula, and referencing. We make use of absolute referencing for the range, but the criteria is relative, because that is why as soon as we try to replicate the function, it relates is to the value in the cell corresponding to the function cell. Okay, so the cell where you insert your function. So basically that is what this particular one is all about. And at this point we check our next task to be executed. Okay, place a formula in cell B31 to count the number of employees with less than 5 years experience. The number of employees with less than 5 years experience. So we are going to approach this in a different way. Less than 5 years experience, B31. The number of employees that have less than 5 years experience. Okay, so basically what we're going to do here is that we are actually going to count the number of employees, the number of years of experience, and we are actually working all together with the number of employees. Okay, so that is we make reference to this particular cell. All right, basically we are targeting this this whole range, that is the years of experience range, and we come over here to count. Since the count function gives us only now numeric counts, okay, so we can actually use the count if function to implement and get only the number of years of experience that are less than I think that are less than 5 years. Okay, so we come here and we embed our count if function, count if, and we refer to our range. This is our range. Okay, our range and our criteria. We make sure we include our criterion in within double quotation, and we close this. Okay, so we have this, but before we go on, you make sure that you make use of absolute referencing. It's always best practice when you are referring to a range. Okay, so a range that you have to make use of maybe across the board. So we have actually 7 here. That is 7 people with less than 5 years experience. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 6 and 7. So it is actually accurate. I do not expect you to count anywhere, but because if you have large data sets, you can't do what I'm doing, but I just want wanted to make sure that you understand how this gets here. Okay, so basically we are done with the second instruction, and the next instruction: place a formula insert B32 to count the number of employees with 10 or more years experience. So it should be greater than or equal to 10. That is the criterion we are going to use. So we have to approach it the same way, and we come over here, B32, we have more than or equal to 10. So we just have to use the same count if function, and we make reference to the range again. And while you're referencing the range, you make sure you reference the range absolutely. Okay, it's the best practice. So comma, and then our criteria should be within double quotes, greater than or equals to 10, and we press enter. So we have 5 greater than or equal to 10. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I think we are good to go. So what you're going to do, we have completed our task, and we are going to save as task 20H. So task 20H in our work area, task 20H. Okay, yeah, so we are done saving, and this is how this task is done. I hope you get used to solving more problems like this, and the more you practice, the more you get to know how to navigate through this whole thing. So I'll see you in our next video. Thanks for watching.